Hi, my name is Jonathan Suttle. This is a presentation for ENGR 6391, Research Methods with Dr. Uni Krishnan at West Texas A&M University. Welcome to this presentation on autonomous vehicles and complete street designs. Hopefully this presentation will be interesting to those who are in the transportation industry or the autonomous vehicles industry, or someone who is interested in either of those things. This presentation will give a background on complete streets and autonomous vehicles. I'll go over my motivation for the research, my methodology, my potential results, and then I will conclude. I'll start by saying, unfortunately, pedestrian and bicyclist fatalities have been increasing at an alarming rate. Pedestrian fatalities have increased by 53% from 2009 to 2018. As you can see here, it has annual pedestrian fatalities have increased by well over 2,000 from 2009 to 2019. This chart will give a little bit more context. You can see that it was at an all-time low in 2009, or since 1988 anyway. Its all-time low was at 2009, and then it started increasing drastically, almost exponentially, from 2009 to 2019. So what are we doing about it? Smart Growth America is proposing their complete streets designs that, among other things, prioritize safety of pedestrians and bicyclists over the speed of vehicles. In the National Complete Streets Coalition's own words, complete streets is an approach to planning, designing, building, operating, and maintaining streets that enable safe access for all people who need to use them, including pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists, and transit riders of all ages and abilities. So hopefully complete streets can offer a solution or help mitigate the problem with pedestrian fatalities and bicyclist fatalities. Moving on to autonomous vehicles, Grandview research indicates the global autonomous vehicles market demand was estimated at 51.6 thousand units in 2021 and is expected to expand at a compound annual growth rate of 53.6% from 2022 to 2030. This chart is just to illustrate the expected growth of autonomous vehicles. The dark blue is general transportation, and the light blue is defense autonomous vehicles. So when can we expect to see autonomous vehicles on our street? Some may be surprised to learn that autonomous vehicles are already on our streets. Companies like Waymo are offering rides in fully autonomous driverless vehicles in Phoenix, Arizona. They're currently working on having their driverless taxi services in San Francisco, California. Other companies like Kodiak are working on fully autonomous long-haul trucking capabilities, and a company called Beep is offering rides in fully autonomous shuttles. So it seems that fully autonomous vehicles are just on the horizon. So why are people interested in developing autonomous vehicles? Is it just because they're cool, or what? The answer is that autonomous vehicles have the potential to transport people in a way that is safe and efficient for riders and pedestrians and bicyclists and anyone who needs to use the street. There are a few different ways they'll be able to do this. For example, researchers and developers envision autonomous vehicles being able to communicate with each other. So this would mean that they know when it was safe to enter an intersection. And if they're all connected, autonomous vehicles would know how to proceed and to avoid congestion or dangerous situations. They would know, one autonomous vehicle would know when the other is going to slam on the brakes, or when the other autonomous vehicle is going to swerve, accelerate, etc. And the biggest cause of vehicle accident today is human error. And this would be avoided with autonomous vehicles. In other words, autonomous vehicles don't drive under the influence. They don't text and drive, they don't drive while fatigued, etc. So researchers commonly envision major changes to the way roads will be used in the future with autonomous vehicles. Many of these visions include ride sharing, less need for parking lots, more room for pedestrians, and other elements that can affect land use. The compatibility of complete streets with the deployment of autonomous vehicles has not yet been thoroughly researched. This research will determine the impact that complete streets have on the deployment of autonomous vehicles. There are three major reasons for this research. As always, safety first. Studying complete streets and autonomous vehicles will assist developers in determining if autonomous vehicles will be safe for passengers, pedestrians, bicyclists, and others when traveling on complete streets. Developers and researchers believe autonomous vehicles will offer valuable advantages. To take advantage of the potential of autonomous vehicles, designers and engineers should plan for them and work to accommodate them where necessary or where they can. Finally, this research can give helpful insight to developers and researchers and grow this body of knowledge. Developers, designers, and engineers can make changes if necessary as we discover them along the way. Studying autonomous vehicles and complete streets will make up the bulk of this research. Studying peer-reviewed research and manuals such as Blueprint for Autonomous Vehicles by the National Association of City Transportation Officials will be necessary to build an understanding of what researchers anticipate a future with autonomous vehicles looking like. The elements of a Complete Streets policy written by the National Complete Streets Coalition and other peer-reviewed articles will be used to gain familiarity with the Complete Streets designs. Existing complete streets that have already been designed and built can be observed as well. Comparisons between complete streets and the expected features used in the deployment of autonomous vehicles will be noted. If the differences will significantly affect the deployment of autonomous vehicles, it will be more thoroughly examined. There are other factors that impact both complete streets and autonomous vehicles. Two of those factors are legal regulations and design regulations. As of 2015, 16 states have passed legislation regarding autonomous vehicles. For similar reasons, it will be necessary to have an up-to-date understanding of applicable design standards and regulations. Some research has been done regarding human behavior as it relates to autonomous vehicles. This research will be used to determine how human behavior will affect the deployment of autonomous vehicles on complete streets. If it's necessary, qualitative research such as interviews and surveys will be done to obtain more pertinent data. It is reasonable to expect complete streets will not negatively affect or could even assist in the deployment of autonomous vehicles. The reason that this hypothesis is reasonable is because pedestrians are often considered in most of the reviewed research regarding deployment of autonomous vehicles. And some research theorizes that technology could offer significant safety gains for people walking, biking, and driving. The commonalities between the visions for complete streets and a future with autonomous vehicles indicate that the two schools of thought are moving in parallel. On the other hand, complete streets could make it more difficult to deploy autonomous vehicles. Some theorize that technology may outpace legal standards. A lack of regulations could lead to a situation where autonomous vehicles are dangerous in areas like complete streets, where biking and walking are promoted. Other experts indicate a successful future with autonomous vehicles should involve ride sharing. If people don't want to participate in ride sharing, that could introduce problems with the visions that some researchers have for autonomous vehicles. So in conclusion, first, complete streets designs are important for safety. Pedestrian and bicyclist fatalities have been increasing, and these designs can help with that problem. Second, autonomous vehicles are on their way. Autonomous vehicles are becoming a reality and have the potential to change transportation in major ways and hopefully for the better. Third, research the compatibility. There's a need to research the compatibility of complete streets with autonomous vehicles for safety so we can take advantage of autonomous vehicles' potential and to make any necessary adjustments that might be discovered. Fourth, factors involved. There are technical, regulatory, legal, and human behavioral factors that will impact the deployment of autonomous vehicles. And lastly, expected results. Complete streets designs will have either a positive or a negative effect on the deployment of autonomous vehicles. But at this point, it's difficult to say which will be the case, but that is the purpose of this research. And at this point, I'm trying to have an open mind, so I don't want to strongly conclude one way or the other quite yet. A few acknowledgments. I met Thomas at the Western Association of Transportation Officials Conference, or WASHTO conference, and after reaching out to him, he told me about this topic of research. Dr. Unnikrishnan pushed me to pursue this research and taught me research methods through the Research Methods course at West Texas A&M. And my friends at the Texas Department of Transportation are always willing to let me bounce ideas off them and talk to me about this research. These are my references. Feel free to examine them a little more closely. Continue. And that will be all. Thank you for listening.